What is going on, everybody, and welcome to the Washington Brawl podcast presented to you by the Brawl Network and Manscaped. I am your host, Parker Hamlet, and I think I'm all sobered up after a pretty sloppy Sunday against the Giants, no pun intended.
You sober now?
No, I'm never.
But it's that time of the year, folks. The rivalry that runs deep. They hate us, and we hate them. It is Dallas week. What better way to preview this monumental matchup than to not just have one guest, but two? We have a doubleheader here at Washington Brawl tonight. So, without further ado, first up is a good friend of mine, the first guest we ever actually had on Washington Brawl, host of the Burgundy Zone, father-to-be, Kyle Roenick. Kyle, thanks for coming on, man.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be back, Parker. I really do appreciate the invitation to come back on and be blessed in the presence of you and good old CV.
Oh, good old CV, because for the first time ever on Washington Brawl, lifelong fan of the Washington football team himself, a veteran, a vital part of the Hogfarmers and the Hogfarmer Foundation, Chris Bryant. Chris, thank you so much for stopping by and talking some Washington football with us, man.
What's up, guys? Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man, I know this has been a busy month for you and the Hogfarmers with it being Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I know you got the shirt on right there. I don't know how you got it so quick. I'm honestly kind of jealous, as I was saying before we went on. Just recently auctioned off an official Game Award Montez sweat jersey, right?
Yeah, we did.
God.
It was actually donated to us by a Washington fan not too long ago. So,
Oh, wow.
it was really nice of him to do that too, of course.
Yeah, man, it was all for a really good cause. I paid a pretty penny for the one I got hanging behind me. So the fact that someone only had to pay $10 and was able to scoop up that you can't beat that, man. That's a hell of a bargain. So if you're listening, make sure you guys check out the Hogfarmers on Twitter. You guys are doing God's work over there, brother.
Thank you, man.
Speaking of jerseys, Kyle finally got his Chase Young jersey. I don't see he's not rocking it tonight, but how is it, man? Did you get the Washington football team one or the Redskins one?
No, I got the Redskins one because my family had bought it for me back for my birthday back in April, right after the draft. They bought it for me, and then it was basically just an avalanche, snowball effect of bad things happening, of COVID, the name change, and then just everything taking so long to come around. So they sent the Redskins edition one. I'm not going to complain about it, dude, because I would be willing to bet there's not many people with it.
No, there's not. And I tagged you on Twitter. Apparently, everybody got theirs at once. Because when did you,
Yeah.
like back in April?
Yeah.
God, that's a steep wait, man. That name, though, sure is a big deal to some people, even after the dust has settled. In fact, the Washington football team president, Jason Wright, had some intriguing comments today in regards to the team's future name. But first, today on Washington Brawl, we're going to discuss, will we stay the football team in 2021? Jason Wright says it looks pretty likely. Also, does Pat McAfee have the scoop? The former NFL punter teases a big fallout in regards to Haskins benching sooner rather than later. Lastly, we will preview this weekend's clash between the 2-4 Dallas Cowboys and the 1-5 Washington football team, which surprisingly at this point does have big NFC East complications on the line. Also, we'll give you our keys to victory as well as our score and bold predictions. But first, the Washington football team president Jason Wright was on TV on Tuesday and said that there was a pretty good chance that the Washington football team will keep the name next season. He also stated that a new name for the team would be too fast due to having to create the brand with its uniforms, the approval process, all that good stuff. I think it's safe to say that the general consensus is against this. Personally, I like the name as a placeholder. I don't know about you guys, but I just past this season, man, it's extremely iffy to me. Kyle, you're a big Jason Wright guy. What did you make of the comments, and how does the possibility of being called the Washington football team next season feel to you?
I think Jason Wright is an incredibly intelligent person, and I think he knows how to market things from a business aspect, and he knows that you got to ruffle the feathers up a little bit in order to get some controversy going, to get the juices flowing in regarding to a topic. And so this is the best way to be able to do it, because I think everyone knows this is not going to be the name long term. They don't even have a hashtag for it. Like, that was hard to do. You know, I don't see this being a sustainable product like Dan said that they want for 100 years. I just don't think that this product is strong enough. So I'd be willing to bet that they already have something in mind, and Jason just wants to have fun for a little bit.
Yeah, that's certainly the direction I'm going into as well. They did try to do a hashtag. Definitely didn't work out so much. Like I said, I'm cool with it as a placeholder name. Chris,
Right.
you have more Washington Redskin memorabilia than anyone I've ever seen. You just took a look in your house like 5 minutes before we went on, and I'm sure the name change wasn't easy for you, with you being a very well-tenured fan. How does the thought of being the football team in 21 make you feel?
So first, I'll say I wasn't a big fan of the name change. But moving past that, I don't like change, period. So anything beyond the Redskins, I'm not gonna like, and I feel as a majority of fans are not gonna like, or have to adapt to. So really, the Washington football team name doesn't bother me that much. Like I said, I don't like change. So me personally, I wouldn't mind it being the same what it is now. But to me, it's beyond football and the name. I understand from a marketing perspective, but it honestly, it doesn't matter to me. Whatever the name is, I have no control of it. Whatever they change it to, it could be Red Wolves or the Ghostbusters or whatever. I'm gonna get a new decal. I'm gonna rock with the team. So that's it.
Send me one of those Washington football decals, man. I need one. Like I was telling you, I got a t-shirt and I thought I was hot stuff till I looked at you. Jesus, man. But former Washington Redskin tight end Chris Cooley had some interesting comments today on the subject. Cooley said that he was told by a couple people that the name was picked well before the season. The one person that he said he truly trusts does not work in the building that delivered this information. He also said that this person said they were not going to tell him the name, but confirmed that they do, in fact, have one picked out. So, guys, we aren't going to sit here and play a guessing game as to who he's referring to, or even fantasy book what names we want the team to go with.
Matthew McConaughey.
Do you guys buy Cooley's comments? Do you think they've already picked out a name? I know, Kyle, you just mentioned that you think they've long picked one. It's just more of a marketing ploy.
Yeah, I'm sure that Cooley had. I think it's interesting that he says that they don't work inside the building, but they know this information. Means obviously there is a direct connection, and then you kind of have to pick and choose who you think it would be. But look, I'm not here to play guessing games. I just feel like they probably have a good idea. They've had a good idea in mind. This is a very this is a professional franchise, an organization. They know what they're doing. And I know that we want to make jokes about it and everything, but at some point they know what they're doing. They have a structure in place and they have a good thought in mind. And I really do believe that they already have a name in place and they'll start gearing towards it in the middle, towards the end of the season.
Like you said, I think they're just having fun with it, like Smoot and Julie and all them are wearing like Red Wolf shirts. They're teasing the Warrior stuff. So, I mean, they're playing all sides. They want everybody's input. Chris, how did you feel about Cooley's comments? Do you really feel like they've already picked out a name this early, or do you think that the process is a little bit more hard than people think?
No, I don't think the process is hard. Like you said, I think Dan and his close-knit crew know what name they want. I think Chris Cooley might be reaching though. I think he should be just trying to get a story out there. I don't think he knows.
Hey man, he's probably on Kevin Sheena's show. He said that on Kevin Sheena's show or not, but I can picture him saying it on there.
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah. I know they've been receiving fan submissions, taking polls, and all that stuff. Like Kyle said, I got to agree with him on this one. I think they know exactly what direction they're going in. So for the first time in a while, I actually agree with what Chris Cooley is saying. Kyle,
yeah.
Maybe you can get it out of him when Jason Wright inevitably comes on the pod. I got faith.
I would never put him in that position. I'm not trying to do that to him. I just want to pick his brain on because everyone walks into this building saying the same thing, that they have the control. They want to have this in place and this in place. But I want to be able to pick Jason Wright's brain and say, I want to make sure that what you vision this organization to be is what actually happens. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because in the years past, we've seen, yes, somebody else has control, but then slowly we hear bit by bit that actually that wasn't the case at all and slowly unraveling. I don't want to make this negative, but that's the reason why I would rather pick his brain about to make sure that, we are headed in the right direction.
Absolutely, man. And I think one of those days he is going to be on the Burgundy Zone. If you guys haven't already, go check out the Burgundy Zone podcast. Shameless plug.
Our chef, it's our Hooters shameless plug. Cool.
But before we move on, we are of course brought to you by our sponsor and Andy Burrow's favorite part of Washington Brawl. Shout out to Andy Burrows on the NBCS Washington interview with Julie Donaldson.
Joining us. Andy, thanks so much. I have to ask, how in the world are you a fan when you're a world away?
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Excellent stuff there. If you guys haven't already.
That was great.
God, so cool. So happy for him. But Manscaped has been providing the top-of-the-line male grooming tools to help you give the maximum performance with the Lawn Mower 3.0, which is simply the best hygiene male tool for the modern man. Yes, people, I did wash this. It is waterproof, has advanced skin-safe technology to help avoid nicks. Convenient little charging dock that I tried to pour alcohol into last week by accident. Nice little LED light here, so you can see what you're doing. If you're doing it in the dark, I'm kind of worried about you. You can get the Lawnmower 3.0, including a few other exclusive items if you order the Performance Package 3.0 today. Like I said, you not only get the Lawnmower 3.0, but you also get the Crop Preserver and the Crop Reviver, which are two exclusive items just to Manscaped. The Crop Preserver is a perfect anti-chafing deodorant for your sack. And the Crop Reviver is this fancy little spray-on toner that is made with soothing aloe extracts that has you feeling revitalized. Normally, you would get all these items together for $89.99, but you can get the Performance Package 3.0 for 20% off today using promo code BRAWL with this limited time offer. That is promo code BRAWL BRAWL to get 20% off of the Performance Package 3.0 today. Join the Manscaped family, Washington Brawl listeners. Your balls will thank you. Do it! Speaking of balls, one guy who certainly has them is Riverboat Ron. And for 2 against the New York Giants Sunday in a losing effort. Earlier in the season, when referring to quarterback Dwayne Haskins, Rivera stated that there was a quote-unquote cutoff point for Dwayne.
Make sure everybody is playing well enough to win at that point, and there is a cutoff point for me.
I brought the exact quote just to clarify this before we get into this. Rivera said, when asked about evaluating Haskins earlier in the season, like I said, and I quote, there is again, and you brought up the point, and it's a very good point. There are guys in the locker room that are playing to win. Again, we have to make sure that everybody is playing well enough to win at that point. There is a cutoff point for me. There is. Today, Coach Ron Rivera did something that he has done quite frequently in recent weeks, and that is contradict himself.
I didn't have a cutoff point for Dwayne Haskins. When I made a decision based on what I was.
When asked about the quote-unquote cutoff point with Dwayne, he told reporters, and I quote, I didn't have a cutoff point for Dwayne Haskins. I made a decision based on what I was watching, what I was seeing, and that is what happened. With Kyle, I'm going to go as long as I feel like I can. It's about watching him and seeing what I need to see. Again, there was no drop-dead cutoff point with Haskins. If this didn't happen here, or what I was watching and looking for is in regards to growth and process and to develop that kind of stuff, that is why I made the decision that I made. I had no cutoff point. Just when I thought his integrity was not already under siege, guys, this story comes up today. How? The question here obviously is not, did he have a cutoff point with Dwayne? Because obviously he did. Hell, I think you and me had an episode called The Cutoff Point. But even though he is going through a lot, and that's something you and a lot of people are saying, and I certainly agree with that, are these the type of things that are continuously going to add up and hurt his word and faith with the fans?
No, because as soon as they start winning football games, it's all going to go away. But I think Ron is being honest. I really, truly believe that. I think things were happening that he couldn't outright just say. And so when you talk about like politically speaking and trying to say things without saying them, you have to be able to mask that. And I think that's what he was doing when he was talking about that cutoff point with Dwayne. And that's why I think he was being honest today by saying, no, it's not. And he's not really remembering because it wasn't the reason. I think there's something else there. I'm not one to speculate, but I'm just saying, I'm just trying to give some defense to Coach. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, I love Ron Rivera too. I want him to be here. You want him to be here. But, when he says things that are just blatantly incorrect like that, nothing good comes out of it. The media latches onto that stuff. Chris, what did you make of Coach Rivera's comments? And are you starting to lose a little bit of faith in Ron Rivera's integrity, especially after such a bad start to the season?
No, I wouldn't lose faith in his integrity at all. I'm hoping and trusting that he could turn these things around. And like Kyle said, winning cures everything, regardless of what Coach Brown or Bears would be saying in the media post game. Winning will wash all out of the water. So if we can win some games, that's ultimately all that matters. But I think he had it in his head to go ahead and switch to Dwayne Haskins after week 3. That's what I personally feel. I feel like that. Honestly, I felt like that was the move after week 2, to be honest with you. But I don't know.
It just
see what Kyle got.
People are going to dissect all these comments, especially when he says one thing and then does another. I like what Kyle said about him kind of showing, his motives now that he's actually doing the thing that he wants to do. And, while those questions that I'm asking you guys may seem crazy, if you open your Twitter feed, half the fan base wants him gone already,
Yeah.
It's absolutely
Yeah.
He went on the podium today and stated that it wasn't really until year 3 in Carolina people started buying into what he was, giving out as far as, culture and the coaching regime and all that good stuff. But on the Pat McAfee show today, former Colts punter, Pat McAfee, shout out to him. He actually talked about our show one time. I got all giddy about that. He said today, if the real story about why Haskins was benched gets released, it will be big. Of course, the last time that he said something like this about the Washington football team, it was in reference to the WAPO story, and it dropped about 2 hours later. And that set the Washington football team world on fire.
He was talking about like the Epstein logs too, though.
Yeah, he was. That's valuable context. But still, when Pat McAfee opens his mouth about stuff, it's because he's getting texts live on air. He's just not, oh, you can't see it. You can't see it. Do you guys anticipate that the reason Ron may be kind of scrambling with this entire Dwayne situation is because this might have something to do with it? Chris, I'll start with you.
I definitely it was a swift change, so I definitely think there's something more in the air that'll come out. I don't know how drastic it'll be, and the world. I'm sure Twitter world will make it drastic, but I don't think it's nothing too drastic. But it was pretty fast that he made that change, so we'll see.
Kyle?
Yeah, I think that there was I felt like, because what Ron was basically saying is, he's telling you that he has like a checklist that he has envisioned for when he sees in the future, right? So he sees the seasons in quarters and he expects wins out of them, right? Well, he expects the same out of the progression out of his players. And what he is not seeing is just on the field with Dwayne Haskins. He's also trying to see something with Dwayne Haskins as a man in a life scale and how he's interpreting situations and how he's reacting to things. And I think there are things that are happening behind the scenes that Ron did not agree with, and is what pushed the decision more than it was Dwayne's play, if that makes sense.
No, that's a great answer. And one thing that really pops up in my head is that there were times throughout Ron's tenure in Carolina where he kind of tested Cam like that, like when he actually benched Cam for dress code. For dress code. And Cam went to that podium, said all the right things, and stuck with his coach. I agree with you, Kyle. There's got to be something going on behind the scenes where it's more than just the X's and the O's, and there's got to be something more to it than that. But that will be an intriguing story to follow as the trade deadline fastly approaches. But the reason I got you guys here today, man, is let's talk about Sunday, October 26th. Our last game for the bye. America's team travels to FedEx to take on the Washington football team with the NFC East lead on the line. Yes, the NFC East lead. I mean, the NFC East is that bad. Yeah. Even after losing to the New York Giants, we're a win away from the division lead. We're also a loss away from having the number 1 overall draft pick if things happen a certain way. Crazy times, man. Both of the teams are coming off of very tough losses, but I think I can say for all of us that Dallas's Monday Night Massacre made our loss to the Giants look very small.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they got punched.
While people are questioning Ron, like I was just kind of referring to earlier, no one thinks Mike McCarthy knows what he's talking about.
Right.
In fact, he stated that he felt like his team's preparation for Arizona was the best they had all season. This man said that about a 38-10 loss.
Yeah.
Also, to make matters worse, an anonymous player reported that the staff is, and I quote, not good at their jobs. It's week man. It's crazy.
I said this before the season. I said, I thought that the Washington football team could actually win the division. I'll stand by that. I really did think this was a good football team because of the division. Looking around, nobody knows about Joe Judge. Mike McCarthy is overrated. I don't care what anyone says. That guy had Aaron Rodgers, made him look good for 13 years and only got one Super Bowl out of it. He really drove them down. I did not think that was a fancy hire. And then with Philly, they have a bunch of question marks and injuries regarding that team. I think Doug Peterson and Ron Rivera are the two best coaches in the NFC East. I know that that's really kind of a weird thing to say because Doug Peterson's Super Bowl already. But
no, you're absolutely correct.
But look, I do think they could get it done. I really do. I trust this team. I don't know why.
I just need like a fourth of that optimism, man. It gets me going.
It's that fourth quarter, man. It's not my fault. It was the fourth quarter because look, like when I watch the Washington team play, right? Every second, every play that goes by, envision what the play could be afterwards and how it could, help in the game. And in that fourth quarter, I said, all right, they got to get off the field on third down with defense. Offense got to go down to score. Kick the extra point. Let's go to overtime. If not, go for the two. And that's what they did. And that's why I felt encouraged because that was winning football. And I was encouraged. I'm sorry, but it's weird.
No, and if we win on Sunday, then this conversation isn't as crazy as some people think it is. It's not much of a head turner. And like you said, McCarthy was a perennial underachiever in Green Bay. He was practically being coached by Aaron Rodgers at one point. He even bluffed to Jerry about watching all the team's film last year just so he could get the job and admitted it at the podium.
Confess, I told Jerry I watched every play of the 2019 season, but I wanted the job. So I had.
Chris, I'll start with you. Does the dysfunction in Dallas surprise you?
Heck no, it don't surprise me. First, I want to say, Coach Rivera is a really good coach, right? We've seen him do well in the NFL. Mike McCarthy, garbage, like you said. Aaron Rodgers carried this man through his career, so that's no excuse. But Dallas had a lot at the beginning of the season, a lot of talent on their team. No excuse for them. Eagles are what, 2 years? How many years were they away from a Super Bowl? How many years ago they won that? 2 years ago they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
No excuse for them. We're on a rebound. We're a whole brand new team with a brand new coach, brand new system, brand new everything, and we're still in the race for this NFC East. The Giants, well, they're always the Giants. Saquon Barkley went down. Dumpster Danny is showing up every week. But I still think I tweeted earlier, I don't care if we're 1-14. It's Dallas week. So when we come to play Dallas, I want to win. I want to beat them by 40. Everybody has friends and family down the street that wear that ugly blue star on their chest. Yeah. When you want to be able to see them, you want to be like, yeah, how about the Cowboys?
It's a fight. Getting me hyped. We're not even halfway through yet.
Yeah.
But McCarthy, man, he was out of football for a year for a reason. And, to me, he's kind of the perfect guy to lead a mediocre franchise like Dallas, right? With a mediocre owner, mediocre fan base like you were just talking about. All I got to say to those people that were crying at the game is try being a Washington fan. Dallas is always put on this pedestal by the media. I just don't think that guy who had his girlfriend on him, he was boohooing and crying, I don't think he could handle being a Washington fan for 5 minutes. Kyle, what implications do you think that blowout loss to the Cardinals will have this Sunday as they head to FedEx?
The implications are huge because in the week before, obviously they lose Dak. And you can tell that, like, from a team feel that they just were depleted, Zeke has those 2 fumbles. It's almost like they're just like, they don't have the same drive, the same fight, without Dak. And then that news report comes out about Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy actually, addresses it and says, I've said it when I started this before the season. If you have something to say, we should be men about it and come say it to our faces. The fact that is happening. I've always said this on the football field. When you see the other team yelling at one another, that's when you press on the gas. That's when you go start kicking their ass because that's when they're at their weakest. The best teams always come together and cling together and are strong. And that's what I see happening this weekend.
I think that team is misses Jason Garrett a lot. I never thought I would say that.
I think it's Chris Richard, man. I think that guy is a really, really good coach. I think he should have stayed, in my opinion.
Yeah, and not just the coaching, man. Injuries have plagued Dallas. Like you said, they lost their franchise quarterback, Dak Prescott, who also did not get a long-term contract done, and now look at the situation they're in with him. They lost Tyron Smith, Leighton Vander Esch. They aren't on like the Eagles level of injury woes, but this Dallas squad is not at full force. I think we can all say that. That does nothing but put a smile on my face, of course, because last time we beat Dallas was when Alex Smith was under center. Chris, I saw a clip of that today. Were you actually at that game?
Yeah, that between that and the Raiders game, that game was, like I said, it was electrified. The whole game, we ended up coming down to the last second where the referee didn't call a bot snap, so they had back up 5 yards, and then he missed that field goal. Oh, the fans' field was just crazy that day. It was awesome.
You were at the Raiders game? Are you talking about the one in 2017?
Yeah, that was a real loud game. And DJ Swearinger came to pop Marshawn Lynch. Oh gosh, that was a good game too.
Yeah, I was there, man. That place was electric. They picked up that game started off with a Monte Nicholson interception.
Yeah,
man. But injuries really ruined that 2018 season, man. And it really is crazy to think that Alex Smith is back. Injuries, as I said, are plaguing the Cowboys. Kyle, what are some of the things that the 6th ranked Washington football team defense can do in order to seize the day against the Dallas Cowboys?
It's obvious, and it's very, very simple. It's attacking Andy Dalton with everything that they have. This is the game that Jack Del Rio earns his salary, in my opinion. He's going to have to dial up some blitzes because, look, this offensive line right now projected is Brandon Knight. He might actually be out, but he only has 5 games started in his career. Greg Senat, 0 games started. He's probably going to be starting at left tackle. Connor Williams, probably the most decorated right now with 27 games started. Tyler Biadasz, I actually did a film breakdown on him from Arkansas. He's actually the center. He was okay. Right guard, Zach Martin. He had a concussion. We don't know if he's going to play. Connor McGovern would step in with 0 starts. And then Terrence Steele, another rookie, starting at right tackle. This is the game, just like week 1, attack Andy Dalton. That's the number 1 aspect.
Dude, you couldn't have said it any better. My answer to this is one word and one word only, and I can't put enough emphasis on it. Blitz, 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 blitz.
Yeah.
Dallas's offensive rankings are out of the window now that Dak isn't on the field. And when Andy Dalton is in the pocket and is being pressured, he is like a deer in the headlights. In fact, when he was in Cincinnati, when he was under pressure, he had a 40% completion percentage. I think Daniel Jones was very competent under pressure last week, had a nice strike to Darius Slayton downfield. But Andy Dalton is not that kind of guy. And Kyle was just sitting there listing the offensive line, and God, all I can think about that is, oh, how the mighty have fallen. Lost Leo Collins, like I said, Tyron Smith isn't playing. Zach Martin possibly has a concussion. Travis Frederick retired. That was a unit that used to dominate the NFC East and was the difference. Was those battles in the trenches they had every week. But like you said, they're coming into this week green, man. A bunch of guys that you taught me something. I don't even know who half those guys are. Chris, what is your key to the defense having a bounce back performance against?
Now I've heard what Kyle said. The Cowboys are starting with a pretty much rookie offensive line. I don't think we're going to need to blitz so much. I think our front line, we ain't going to need to because we have a great front line, and our corners have been playing really well.
That's a good point.
The Stager Everett move was the smart move to go with. With the switch out, and Landon Collins, he has to play better. Because Ezekiel Elliott, I know he's been fumbling, but that boy, he come at you, he gonna run you over. So Landon Collins needs to come ready to play.
Damn right.
I think just playing good solid defense, and we can win. We're gonna win.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling too, man. Another huge component of this game, though, is the turnover battle. Dallas leads the National Football League with 15 turnovers. That is double-digit turnovers in Week 7, people. Kendall Fuller, after getting that interception in the red zone last week, ultimately stopped a 70-yard drive for the Giants, and that did lead to points. Ezekiel Elliott, in my opinion, even though I do agree with some of the things you're saying, Chris, is kind of showing the world why they kind of paid the wrong guy first. Because, like Kyle mentioned, he does lead the NFL in fumbles, has 5 on the season. No other running back has more than 3. Despite a solid season by Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen so far against the run, the Washington football team currently ranks 24th total in run defense. Do you guys see this trend changing anytime soon? You know, after all, some people have see Zeke having a huge game this weekend, especially to bounce back after Arizona.
I definitely. Sorry, Chris. I definitely see it changing because I think the direct implication of the games that have happened so far in the first 6 games, they get down early and then the offenses have been able to run for like 5-6 yards, making it short down and distances on third downs, which kills the balance because the defense doesn't know if they're rushing or throwing. Where in regards to Washington, you know, they get stuck in 3rd and 8, so the defense knows, you know, that they have to throw it. So I feel like once that changes, once the other opposing offenses are forced to throw, that's when you're going to really start seeing that this defense is healthy, they're fresh, they're not tired, and they're actually ready to play in the 4th quarter. And that's what I think we saw last week.
And Zeke does always play good against the Washington football team. Chris, how do you see things turning out?
Yeah, I'm pretty much going to say what Kyle said. I mean, we always get in the games, we get dug in a hole. And the offense is not on the field that long. So the defense, by the 3rd quarter, they're stuck in wind. So they're tired. So the offense just needs to stay out there, sustain some drives, take it down the field, and give this defense some rest to make it through all the 4 quarters and be on an elite level all 4 quarters. Because I don't care how good they are, Chase Young. You see him in the 4th quarter, he's sucking wind with that mouthpiece in his mouth. So if we can keep the offense on the field and they can create some drives for a little bit, the defense will rock.
Yeah, man, and you know, I'm gonna pull 180 right here. Speaking of running the ball, the Washington football team simply has to do a better job in that area of their game. They're averaging a league low 82 yards per game and 3.5 yards per carry. That is the worst in the National Football League. Dallas's run defense is also bottom 10 in the NFL, allowing 5.1 yards per carry and 175 yards a game to opposing running backs. Kyle, I'll start with you. Does this entail a big day for Antonio Gibson and the Washington football team running backs?
I think they're going to have to be perfectly honest. This is the game to do it. Leighton Vander Esch, you know, is coming back. They have Jalen Smith there at the linebacking core. This is the game that they're going to have to make sure that they can use to play action because we've seen with Kyle Allen, you know, if he has to drop back and throw the football, he's going to make a mistake. And so the best chance for him to be able to extend the ball downfield is with play action. And against this defense that's been giving up on average 36 points per game so far in this first 6 games of the season, that's how they're going to attack this defense. They have to take advantage of their weaknesses. And it sucks because I was really excited to see Sadiq Charles. And I think so was Coach, because Coach talked about the 2 plays that Sadiq was in there. He made a difference, and he looked really good. And it sucks because it's unfortunate because the kid has talent. I was really excited to see it because I thought that the rushing woes was going to change after he was in there.
Yeah, you know, Washington is last in the National Football League with only 10 carries of 10 or more yards. So they got to create some explosive plays with that running game, man, especially against this porous defense. Chris, do you see the Washington football team running backs having a big day?
I hope they do, but I'm not sure they will. Like Kyle said, open to play action. Where's Steven Smith? Is he still on IR? He opened up a lot of that with some of the plays they did. Get Terry the ball. That's all I'm gonna say. Get Terry the ball and get them yak yards, and we're gonna be all right.
You know, you beat me to it, man. Because not only does Washington look confused with their rushing attack, but with their passing attack as well. Scott Turner spoke today about how mixed up and clunky certain route concepts have become due to inexperience in the wide receiving core. Going into Sunday's matchup, Kyle, this core will have anything but experience at the position outside of Terry McLaurin, who Chris just mentioned, who is also currently leading all NFL wide receivers with 265 yak yards. The rest of the wide receivers, though, are undrafted players: Cam Sims, Dontrell Inman, et cetera, especially with AGG, Isaiah Wright, and all of them getting hurt last week. And not only that, but Logan Thomas, his status is kind of questionable as well. Mm-hmm. What are some things that you believe Scott Turner can do to simplify this offense for these young guys, man?
they just got to keep doing what they're doing. It's something is going to work. But I do want to say something. Terry McLaurin said in the offseason he wanted to improve his yak. So that was his goal for the offseason. The guy had an amazing year last year. And the one way that he wants to adjust his game, he immediately excels and is one of the best in the league at. The guy is simply amazing. Let's get him to football this weekend. I did a film breakdown on Trayvon Diggs pre-draft, and I'll tell you right now, I was nice with my kind of viewpoint on him. He's not a shutdown corner. He gives you a lot of cushion, and he is fast. But Terry McLaurin being the technician that he is with route running, I think that he is going to have a day. I don't think there's anyone that secondary that can keep up.
Trayvon's a great raw prospect. He has all the athleticism that you can ask for. But like you said, man, that route running that Terry has would make Ocho Cinco start crying. You know? One area that the Washington football team did improve in despite their loss on Sunday was third down, something Kyle kind of mentioned earlier. Scott Turner said today that they were 53% on the day on Sunday, their highest total of the year, which is improvement. No matter how you feel about Kyle Allen and the quarterback debacle, that is improvement. Chris, do you see that changing come Sunday, and what are some things they can do to avoid not being able to convert those third downs?
Number one would be keeping our offensive line healthy, giving Kyle Allen some time to throw the ball. I mean, that's pretty much it. I'm not sure where we're at with the offensive line. What's the rookie left guard name? He got hurt. Is he going to be playing Sunday?
No, they're saying he's out for 2 to 3 weeks with a dislocated knee.
Yeah, we had Lake Lewis on last night, Chris, and Lake was saying he doesn't even think that Sadiq should be playing again this season. That's his opinion.
I agree with that. I mean, that's a fair statement, right?
I know. I was heartbroken when I heard it. I know.
Well,
I hope he's wrong.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Ron Rivera is a Scott Turner pulled some magic that sounds to get these things rocking for it. So we need to beat Dallas.
Yeah.
God, man. But I mean, I gotta say, man, the Dallas defense is just not good. You know, they're allowing 106 passer rating. They've allowed 14 passing touchdowns and almost 250 passing yards a game to opposing quarterbacks. That is horrific. And Mike Nolan should be ashamed of himself.
They should hire Chris Richard now.
Like now, like yesterday, you know?
Yeah.
No matter how you feel about Kyle Allen, man, he could be poised for a breakout performance against Big D.
I think Logan Thomas is a guy that you can really look out to. I know Serge, the Washington photographer that I really enjoy, that I talk to all the time on Washington Twitter, he talked about how on film Logan Thomas was wide open a lot in that game and he was missed. I'm pretty sure they're going to make sure that he is used heavily this weekend.
I hope they don't use him too much. He is dealing with kind of some nagging injuries, but I mean, that's a great pickup by Serge. I mean, he was very physical. You know, once he got to that second, third level, he had the ball in his hands. He was running people over, man. I just hope he recovers, spends as much time on the bike as possible in practice this week. But speaking of defense, Washington's pass rush had quite a quiet day against the Giants, despite Chase Young being ranked the best defensive rookie of Week 6. Shout out to Chase Young for liking that tweet earlier, by the way. I know you're not listening to this, but just had to get that off my chest.
Keep listening.
Allowed Andy to be sacked 3 times and hit 8 times total against the Cardinals. Washington also currently has 16 sacks on the season. I know like half of those were in Week 1. But Chris, after a disappointing performance against Big Blue, do you see this pass rush getting to Andy Dalton early and often?
Yeah, I mean, like Kyle said earlier, they got a whole bunch of banged up offensive linemen, so they better bring the heat. I also think getting Cole Holcomb back last week was an upgrade because Cole Holcomb did a lot last week. He had some great open field tackles, so I think he's gonna put some pressure on Andy Dalton too, and speed down.
I'm really glad you said that about Cole Holcomb because when you look at his statistics, you know, if you're a Gamecast fan and you're not watching and you're just reading what you see online, you wouldn't think much of Cole Holcomb's stat line. But there were so many instances where he just was in the middle of the play almost. Yeah. It was very consistently. You know,
we missed him.
Had a bunch of great open field tackles, a bunch of good tackles for losses. I think getting him back was big, man. Kyle.
Speed. That's what he brings. You know, as Kevin Pierre-Louis, I thought had been playing pretty well so far this season. But Cole just brings the other facet to the game with speed. John Bostic has done a good job with calling the plays and everything, but Cole Holcomb just brings you that kind of X factor at the linebacker position.
Yeah, man, and I was very high on Cole Holcomb last year. He was a diamond in the rough. We kind of heard some things early on about not being too sure of his place in this linebacker room, especially with them bringing back John Bostic. But to see him come back last Sunday and have such a good game, that was really uplifting. Kind of one of the only positives of the game. When it comes to pass rush, though, Washington is currently ranked second overall in the league in pass defense, allowing a 90.7 rating and 207 passing yards per game, which, in my opinion, in a COVID year where everybody's scoring left and right, it's actually pretty good. And the defense has also forced 8 turnovers. 7 of those 8 turnovers, though, have all came through the air. If this pass rush gets going, man, and this defensive line does what they're supposed to do, what this team's invested in them to do, you got first-round draft picks across the board. This should be an unstoppable force, man. That's something we expected to happen last week, and it didn't. So hopefully they show up, man, because they could, like we've said often all year, could be the difference in this game. But, I mean, what exactly is going to happen on Sunday, guys? Because we are at that part of the show where we give our score and bold predictions for this Sunday's matchup. It's Beat Dallas week. Who do you guys got, and what are your bold predictions? Chris, I will start with you.
I'm going we win by 2 touchdowns. I'm going to say the defense wins us this game and scores both those touchdowns. I think we will win. We're gonna win big off this defense. So hold me to it. 2 scores on the defense.
Okay, so you have us winning by 2 scores, and your bold prediction is the defense is going to score 2 touchdowns.
Yep. Maybe one. No,
we said bold, man. It's got to be 2. You got.
Yeah, I do. Bold prediction: 2 touchdowns by the defense, and that's what we win by, 2 scores.
Okay, I like it. Call your shot. He's got the Washington football team pulling it out against the Dallas Cowboys. Kyle, what about you? What's your score prediction as well as your bold prediction?
I do think the Washington football team is going to win the football game this Sunday. It was hard for me to go out to look at Twitter and social media after that game on Sunday because, like I said earlier, I was encouraged. I felt like that mentality that Ron Rivera is instilling is actually starting. I saw the wheels turning on it, and that's what I saw in that fourth quarter. And so I'm really intrigued and really excited to see how they bounce back against Dallas. I want to see them, fight this game, scrap and fight and do everything you can because you don't want to keep losing by 10 to 15 points like they were in the first 5 weeks. Let's keep these games close. Let's keep them competitive, and let's win these damn games, and especially this weekend against the Cowboys, because I've just been so tired of them talking about us complaining and having excuses with injuries and stuff. Let's get ready, baby. No more excuses now, huh?
Eat them up. If I was going to pick Dallas, I definitely couldn't do it now that both of you guys picked the Washington football team to come out on top. I felt fairly optimistic last week too, man. Going into the game, I was on your show, I was on DC Tweet Team podcast, and we both talked about how on paper the Washington football team is a superior team to the New York Giants, and I feel like that should have been a win there as well. Even though, like you said, Twitter was awful and things got really bad. I mean, honestly, I was kind of scared to hop on DC Tweet Team with you. I was scared of what you were going to say because I was only thinking about some of the stuff I could have said after how bad of a loss that was. I still feel like we have a chance in this game. I got the Washington football team winning 27-24. I feel like the offense did make some minimal gains last week, and they can build off that. They are playing a Cowboys defense that is on pace to be the worst, not just of this season, guys, but of all time. I think Washington edges this out and finally puts themselves back in the thick of the NFC East race by winning a game that they should, something that they could not do last week, 27-24. My bold prediction is that this is the Dustin Hopkins redemption game. He will hit the game-winning field goal to avoid overtime. I do have a mildly good feeling about this one. You got to stay positive, especially when people think your season's quintessentially over by week 7. Yeah, right. Chris, thank you so much for coming on to the show, man. Giving us your time. It was an honor. Tell the people where they can find you. Tell them about the Hogfarmers, all that good stuff.
You can find me on Twitter at Hogfarmer Chris. Our Hogfarmer Twitter is the Hogfarmer or Hogfarmer, one of the two. If you guys don't know who I am, me and 2 other guys, Jeff and Chris, run a nonprofit for children's pediatric cancer. We've been doing it for about 3 years now. 2 this year. I think we raised on a little under $50,000, all through the through the donation from the fan base and the community. So, without you guys, everybody, it wouldn't be possible. But we are actively helping about, I think, 12 or 14 kids, something around there. To date, we're helping a boy named Raylan, like you spoke about in the beginning. We auctioned off a Montez Sweat jersey. He actually has terminal cancer. So the doctor just gave his parents the bad news that things are rapidly decreasing. So we auctioned off the jersey and sent his whole family to Disney World last week. So
that was awesome.
I mean, like I said, without the help of you guys, the donations, it wouldn't be possible. So we really appreciate it. Our website is www.hogfarmerscharity.com. And you'll see us around, just here to have fun, watch the game, be positive, and hope for some wins for the team.
Yeah, I will say I hope Destiny is okay. I know the one little girl that broke her legs, unfortunately. I hope she's doing all right and recovering. But I will say though, there, Chris, I want you to let me get some of that time machine whenever you were not using it. Let me get it, because it looks like you dialed it back 20 years.
Yeah, man, I've been taking this whole thing to myself, getting my mind right mentally, and just I had enough. So I went out, I just walked out, exercised a whole bunch, and I've dropped about almost 80 pounds now. I'm just trying to get healthy. Now my beard don't fit; they look goofy on me. So
hey, remember, people always say when they're losing weight, they're always worried about how they look wearing white. You look great, dude. That's the color to wear. I used to be overweight, dude. I went out running every single day until I got skinny. I know it feels good, man. It feels good.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, a lot of that comes with the positivity you bring to the table, man. You just gave me goosebumps talking about all that stuff. Like I said, you guys are doing God's work, and like you said, you're reacting to the games on social media all the time. You guys are always talking to everybody, trying to put smiles on everybody's face. So once again, man, thank you so much for coming on the show. Glad we could finally make it happen.
Yeah, man, this was actually really fun, so I appreciate it. I look forward to coming back. That was awesome.
Sounds good, brother. Kyle, my man, thanks for stopping by again. Last time you were on here, we were talking about Antonio Brown and the Burgundy and Gold, and things have gotten somewhat worse.
Yeah, it has. And the conversation has not gone away, Parker. But, of course, thank you again for the invitation. I'm always happy to come on here and talk some football with you, brother.
Yeah, man. You host a great show over the Burgundy Zone with some really talented guys. It's a pleasure every time I get the invite to come on there. Tell the people where they can find you, man.
You can find us on Twitter and Facebook at The Burgundy Zone. Simply just type that in. You'll find us. And you can find the two mics on my Twitter page as well. They're all over it. I retweet them all the time.
Sounds good, man. That is all the time we have today, guys, for Washington Brawl. If you're still with us, we appreciate you as always. Make sure you give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all those social medias at Washington Brawl. Leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you are listening to us on. And if you are having trouble finding this and other episodes, use the fancy little Linktree app we got in our bio. Head over to www.brawlnetwork.com where you can find the latest from Washington Brawl lead writer David Operman, and you can find some snazzy Washington Brawl merchandise like the one I got on right now. Rep your boys. Watch this episode and other episodes of Washington Brawl on the Brawl Network's official YouTube channel and subscribe so you can see also our exclusive Twitch series on the Brawl Network, the Washington Brawl Madden 21 Game of the Week. Because tomorrow, guys, we got a big episode. I will be taking on the Redskin Addicts' own Dev live on stream. We're going to have mics in. It's going to be Washington versus Washington. Not quite sure who's going to start a quarterback yet. That's going to be interesting. Burrows is normally in there moderating the chat at God knows what time in the morning over in the UK. So make sure you guys come over there and join us and have some fun. We'll come to you guys this Monday with our reactions to the game. But until then, this has been the Washington Brawl Podcast presented to you by the Brawl Network. Peace.